to keep up in a super saturated market, you better be changing and evolving. And it should kind of be like this constant muscle. So I think embracing change is massively important.
Just the thought of like, I'm not going to change, like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Because you'll never go anywhere individually or as a company.
The modern consumer cares about authenticity from a brand. They care about your brand persona and your verbiage and your imagery.
Hey friends, welcome to Above the Fold podcast. I'm your host, Jess Servion. We're going to be talking about everything in your customer's journey. You're going to learn things about customer experience, brand experience, and marketing secrets that help you drive your brand success. So stay tuned, buckle up, and let's get into the episode.
Welcome back to another episode of Above the Fold podcast with me, Jess. I am your host, and this week I am in New York City, joined by Minou Clark, who is the CEO of RealSelf. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Tell the audience more about yourself, because listen, you might be CEO of RealSelf today, but you're a bad bitch, and I need you to fucking tell people.
I'm obsessed. High praise. I don't know about that. I hope so. Yeah, so I joined RealSelf about a year and change ago as CEO. I have a media, entertainment, celebrity background. I'd worked at media publishers in growth strategy roles, audience development roles for the most part of my career.
Yeah.
Working at places like BuzzFeed, PopSugar, People Magazine, Entertainment Weekly, Yahoo, and most recently I was overseeing digital for Paris Hilton's media company, 1111 Media. So you could kind of say I was sitting on the customer side of aesthetics because celebrity culture is so ingrained with beauty trends. But I don't think if I had a crystal ball, I would have predicted that I'd be here.
No, right? Isn't it funny how you like end up in these career paths? Like,
Yeah.
Actually, let's take it even further back. When you went to school, what were you studying?
So I was a theater major and
Okay.
a theater kid, a total theater geek growing up, loved the performing arts, singing, dancing, acting. All of that really spoke to me. My father was in the music industry. My mom paints. We're a really artistic, expressive family. And I think I was always encouraged to explore and play and do whatever made me excited. No one ever enforced a career path or tried
Yeah.
to mold me into something, which as the daughter of an Iranian immigrant is kind of a rarity. But I loved connecting audiences and I liked connecting with people on an emotional level or understanding what moves an audience or what creates a compelling narrative. Throughout college, I was a theater major, did all the stuff like dance troupe, a cappella, radio show, the main stage plays, anything I could get my hands on. And when I graduated, I think when you're a theater major, a lot of colleges make you think if you like theater or performing arts, you're either the writer, the director, the producer, or literally the talent. But there was not this concept of digital first entertainment and social and how marketing is totally an extension in a lot of ways of being kind of a director, orchestrator for storytelling.
Yeah.
I kind of fell into social media working for Maury Povich and The Maury Show.
Shut up.
Yeah, I was a production intern and that did not resonate with me. I have so much respect for what people do when they're in a production seat. But I was more interested in figuring out how do I amplify Maury beyond the show?
Yeah.
Like the viewership on TV is great, but I was an internet junkie and I was on Twitter and Facebook and seeing things go viral. And I was like, why the hell is everyone not tweeting about this? The show's batshit crazy. It's so entertaining. And yet his digital footprint was tiny. So I went into the executive producer's office and I was like, listen, I love Twitter. I know what the kids like. Could I help with social? And so I started taking over Maury's socials and basically living life as a 70-plus-year-old white man on the internet. Really enjoyed that. And I think that's how I fell into digital. I was like, wow, the internet is powerful.
Yeah.
It can bring people together. It can evoke emotion. It kind of scratched all the itches that theater gave me in ways that were even more compelling. And I never looked back. I got obsessed with analytics and what makes things viral, what makes things tick, what metrics help things go up or down, and just sat in audience development and growth strategy roles ever since.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is one such like an amazing story of coming from like that creative background,
Yeah.
because I'm also a strong believer. I went to art school, same thing, ended
Yeah.
up in like marketing, consumer behavior analysis. Like these are things that like bring me joy every day to like work on for brands, right? But I would have never thought that like my art school of like learning to draw
Yeah.
would have led here. But the one thing I will say is that I think coming from that creative background and creative mindset like helps people like us think outside of the box, where it's like you don't have to go to like Harvard and major in business to really understand how to run a business. Like I think in this world we have to be creative. We have to yes, be analytical, but in a different, more artistic way.
I also feel like theater majors and people who study the arts are totally miscategorized and misunderstood because it's not just the ability to think creatively and improvise and think on your feet or connect with an audience. You build so much emotional intelligence.
Yes.
When you are studying anything creative or artistic, you're forced to put yourself in someone else's shoes. You're thinking about things from other people's perspectives. You build so much empathy. And I pride myself on being in touch with that side of things, even as a CEO. I find that's kind of your secret weapon. And of course, it equips you with public speaking skills and like a comfort in, talking in group settings and presenting ideas in a concise way. But I really feel like the emotional intelligence and empathy that you gain is super valuable and not talked about enough.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. Well, this actually leads me into my next question, because I want to talk to you about leadership and culture specifically, but you've spoken about leading with empathy and authenticity. How does that show up in your day-to-day leadership today?
I talk to my team the same way I would talk to my mother or my best friend or the janitor in my building. Everyone gets the same me. I think that's really important, and definitely not the old school or traditional way of approaching a leadership role. I think there's this concept that leaders have to always remain perfect and unemotional and steadfast. I think it's important as a leader to be open with your team and human with your team, because it encourages them to also, return that authenticity back. And I feel like operating in an honest environment where you're kind of given the freedom to feel and communicate honestly is freeing.
Yeah.
So that's how I've kind of been approaching it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curse a lot, and I have a sense of humor, and I have days where I'm really excited and days where I'm like stressed and we need to figure this shit out. I think all of those flavors and textures of being a human bring your team together though.
Yeah.
So that's how I've approached it. I believe in like radical transparency. I believe in talking to people as peers. My intern is spoken to the same exact way as my CFO, as my board member, as my founder. I just find that enriches everybody. And you also feel more seen. You're like, oh, my CEO is talking to me and giving me ownership the same way she would anyone in any quote unquote more senior role. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I remember being really young in my career and being on the operator side and being kind of like afraid to talk to the CEO or like any C-level or any exec. And then when it switched for me, like of being in those positions, now the same thing as you, right? Like I believe in that radical transparency. I believe in like not like creating these barriers between whether it's the intern or the VP that I'm talking to,
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, in our office, we sit at a huge communal table for the most part, and I don't do assigned seating. I don't sit in a cubicle or in like a cute, like separated office, like corner office with a view of the park. That ain't me. I sit like next to whoever wants to sit next to me. Oftentimes it is like my interns or an engineer. My CFO is oftentimes at the other side of the table. So we don't really try to create this separation between leadership and team. And I will say, like, we all grew up kind of afraid to approach the C-suite, and I blame them.
I
weren't
agree with
fucking
you.
Approachable. No wonder we didn't really feel free to like go express an idea to them or talk to them about something.
Yeah.
They didn't really make the door feel particularly open.
Right. I agree with you. And I think, I do think that like as the markets are changing, the job market specifically, and like we're getting more Gen Z, eventually Gen Alpha, like, younger millennials, I feel like I'm a millennial, but I feel like we've kind of changed it. Like, fuck that. Like,
Yeah.
we're not like, that's cute that your door's closed, but I'm gonna bang on that door until I get an answer, right? Like, but it was never like that coming up in our careers. Well, at least for me, like it was never like that. It was very like, that's a CEO, he's over here or she's over here. Like, don't talk to them. And I'm like, absolutely not. Come talk to me.
Oh, totally. I remember I was fairly junior in my career. We had a new, not even CEO, like a new editor in chief at one of the media outlets I worked at.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say hi and welcome to the team. It was a new hire. Didn't matter that they were editor in chief and I was not chief of anything.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble for saying hi. People are very, I think, sensitive to hierarchy.
Yes.
And often I find it stems from a place of like lack of confidence and insecurity.
Yeah.
But I find if you're secure in what you do, there's room for everybody at the table.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And like there's room for everybody to show up and prove themselves, right? So RealSelf is in a moment of transformation now because you guys have just like rebranded and like gone through like massive changes. I'm really curious on like how are you creating a culture of trust and ownership during that change?
It's a balancing act, to be honest, because RealSelf is built off of a really transparent, authentic community. People share their lived experiences when they're going through a transformation of their own, whether it's something minimally invasive or hugely invasive. These are huge life choices, and they're vulnerable and open enough to take to our community, share reviews, share before and after photos, and that's really powerful. So when we rebranded, we felt it was really important actually to honor and uplift our roots and honor and uplift our community and really listen to their feedback. I think we could have easily lost the plot if the rebrand was just a vanity project where we picked our favorite colors and our favorite logo and just did it in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But we really took our time listening to the data, the community, consumer insights, and where the industry is kind of heading, and made sure everything we did was kind of anchored in a data point or a business reason. I find it funny that we rebranded because, to be honest, it's not fun or easy to rebrand. I mean, it's a crazy undertaking. It's expensive, both emotionally and financially. And it creates this need to adapt and evolve your audience and your clients. That's really challenging. So let it be known, like it wasn't on my wish list to take over a company and then have to rip it apart and rebrand it and retool it. But we desperately needed it. And we are all about transformation at RealSelf. So our own facelift was super overdue.
Yeah.
We were outdated. We weren't on a high functioning site. We were barely mobile first. All the best content on our site and community was difficult to find. Our UX UI was confusing. It wasn't digestible. If you were someone new discovering RealSelf through social and you hit our homepage, you would feel disjointed and confused. So we felt the need to create this cohesive narrative, and the juice was totally worth the squeeze. The response has been unbelievable so far, but I find there is this stereotype of CEOs come in, they just kind of want to put like their stamp or territory on stuff. And this was not that at all.
Yeah. Well, that actually leads me to like something else I wanted to ask you about, like leadership and culture as a whole, because you're completely right. Like new CEOs come in and they're like, you know, the whole org's like, oh God, like, am I going to be okay? You know, like,
Totally.
But what are leadership practices you think should be embraced more widely? And what's one outdated approach we should retire?
Ooh, I think people should embrace change. You should be grateful when a leader comes in and they make bold change because it means they give a shit. And it's really scary, but sometimes you need to fuck around and find out and change.
Yeah.
And you'll monitor and measure as you go, but you can't let perfect be the enemy of good. If someone's coming in and they want big change, it's because there's probably a big need.
Right.
And maybe that's exciting. Maybe that's a new opportunity in and of itself and something to embrace rather than something to shy away from. I find companies that are, averse to change or difficult crossroads are the ones that get left behind.
Yeah.
To keep up in a super saturated market, you better be changing and evolving. And it should kind of be like this constant muscle. So I think embracing change is massively important. It's a piece of success. And I'm like saying this being like, wonder if my team will watch this, and totally agree. Um,
Well, I was actually going to say, like, I agree with your points, like from like a organization standpoint and like a company standpoint, but I also agree with it on an operator standpoint. Just coming from like the operator's side of things, and then now being my own like founder CEO moment of like a few different projects, right? It's really interesting that mindset shift that happens when you go from operator to like being in charge of something.
yeah.
And I think where I even used to struggle young in my career, and anybody listening to this who's like maybe, you know, on like a junior level or like coming up in their career, I think it's really important that when change is happening within an organization, a new CEO comes and they want to make like change for the better, but they're coming with like data points and all these other things, to like actually embrace it and like fuck around and find out and just try, rather than trying to like beat yourself at the wall of like, no, I don't want this. I don't want to be different. I don't want to like change, because I think that like that's how you challenge yourself as an operator too, by embracing it.
Yeah. And I think the other thing people need to embrace, when you come in as a leader for a company that predated you, you're inheriting something that has context you need to learn and viewpoints you need to learn. But just because you're inheriting it doesn't mean you can't touch it. You got to be really brave when you start spotting cracks. You have the luxury of an outsider's perspective. So you have none of that emotional attachment to why things might be the way they are. It could be anything. It could literally be like a tool your whole team uses, and you know there's a better tool. Like it could be something so low stakes. You need to be willing to look at everything with a critical eye, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, transformation is just fucking tough on no matter which end of it, right? But embracing it and retiring just the thought of like, I'm not going to change, like, fuck that. Because you'll never go anywhere individually or as a company, you know?
Yeah.
So switching gears, I want to talk about switching gears. I want to talk about brand growth and digital strategy, because, and I started this with saying you're a bad bitch. Okay. But you've led growth at Yahoo, 1111 Media, BuzzFeed, PopSugar, and now RealSelf. So what lessons have translated across those very different companies to what you're doing now?
I think be data driven. Every audience, even if you think there's overlap, and maybe there is different and unique. And finding the data points that support why you're doing what you're doing will help you create authentic strategy to that brand versus superimposing a preconceived notion or a strategy from a completely unrelated Oregon team onto your new company.
Yeah.
I find that's really important. You kind of need to approach it like every role is its own part in a play. Like it really makes me feel that way, where you need to understand the context. You need to understand what your objective is. You need to understand all the history of all the characters who are part of that brand story.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. I also think being collaborative has been a major theme across my career. I've always been in these roles that just by nature are cross-departmental. Audience development is very cross-departmental. You're basically saying, I help orchestrate and grow audience in general for the brand across departments, across content types. I share those insights so the people making stuff know how to better frame it. So you kind of have to talk to everyone from like the videographer to the writer to the podcaster to the analyst to the exec to the editorial director. You're in this like weird horizontal function. And I think that collaborative spirit is major. Having everybody at the table, you don't know what perspective you're missing as a brand. And in marketing, there's so many different demographics you want to reach and resonate with. You can't seriously think you understand every sensitivity and taste and perspective all alone. So having, surrounding yourself with intellectual honesty from a diverse group of people, different demos and ages, but also different levels of experience at work, that's been big. Like I've carried that everywhere. I give my interns a lot of power. I don't care. Like if someone is still a college student or super seasoned and in the C-suite, a good idea is a good idea.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I so agree with you. What digital strategies and or consumer behavior has surprised you recently? Because you talked about like your life on the Maury show, right? And like that was a different time, right?
Yes.
And then now you've gone through all these other like media companies and all these different like areas, right? Like, so I'm really curious about what today has really surprised you about like consumer behavior.
I mean, I think everyone loves to throw around AI as a buzzword. It's like the sexiest word. It reminds me of when like SEO was a word or like social media was a word. And I'm like,
Now I
here we are.
actually like miss people talking about SEO. I'm not
I
gonna
was
lie to
having
you.
to convince people that Instagram's a marketing channel. I'm like, oh, those were the days, those simpler times.
Yeah.
Um,
Now it's TikTok.
I think it's interesting on the corporate level and thought leadership level, people love to sit on panels and talk about AI. It's super relevant. You should.
Yeah.
But on the consumer level, people are really sensitive to content that's farmed out of AI, things that feel inauthentic, ads in, magazines that are AI generated. The consumer appetite isn't as gung ho as the corporate appetite to operate more efficiently. And I think we're going to learn together what the right balance is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I mean, at RealSelf, we totally use a mix of AI for some of our fun marketing content. When we did our rebrand, we had like an AI generated massive RealSelf logo floating down 6th Avenue. No, we didn't like actually create a Thanksgiving float for our logo. But I think there is this consumer behavior of when AI is trying not to look like AI and they spot it, there's this distrust with brands.
Yes.
So I think that's going to be interesting and is a little surprising because there's just such a disparity in viewpoints. I sit with a lot of C-suite. We talk a lot about AI as this really incredible tool. It's super powerful. It's an enabler to do work better and faster. Completely agree.
Yeah.
But then if you're the consumer consuming the content, depends.
Yeah.
There's way more nuance and opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I really agree with you. Like I've seen like on my side, on the e-commerce side, I've seen people who like completely do media with AI. And then all of a sudden it's like a hand that should have 5 fingers has like 20.
Oh, don't get me started with that. I'm not even going to call out some of those mistakes in my career where there's like an extra finger.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And I get it. It can like help you move faster. And maybe it's like help you move faster in like editing and like other pieces of, but I would even use AI utilizing
Almost sneezed.
Oh, you're totally fine. Totally. I would almost think of AI just like using it in addition to lifestyle, but so many people are starting to use it as their as lifestyle, and that's just like one medium that I'm referring to. But I agree with you. I think like consumers find distrust in it. I actually put out like a short form content piece about this, and like the comment section with just random people were like, I agree. Like I absolutely would not trust this coffee brand if I saw this random AI generated ad, even in real life, like on the streets in signage,
Yeah. It's super interesting. I mean, I don't know if you've opened LinkedIn lately, but like every thought leader is just chat GPTing every single thing they write and not even trying to cover it up. It's actually kind of funny. It shows the generational lack in tech savviness. I'm sorry to say it.
Yes.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I actually really like LinkedIn as a channel. Like
me too.
My biggest following is there, but I like it. But now I'm starting to shit post on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, at least I'm real. You know what I mean?
Literally. I mean, the amount of emoji bullets and M dashes is just such a dead giveaway. I'm like, at least like.
I know. It's like.
Mix it up.
Well, what's also interesting, I think, is that AI, like, because you can generate it so quickly, right? So then you see all of this AI generated long form in like text, but then you're just fatiguing people. So nobody even wants to read long form anymore.
Yeah.
The LinkedIn algorithm is like.
That's like a whole.
That's a whole other
can of worms.
I know. So going back to brand growth and digital strategy, though, like I want to talk a little bit more about like the rebrand that you did. So, how do you approach a brand refresh in a way that modernizes, but has still kept your loyal audience loyal to you? Because you guys, like, you inherited this audience. Now you're coming in doing this brand refresh. Like,
Yeah, it's tough for us. We had a really outdated brand, which made it a little easier. It wasn't like we had this branding and this web experience that was this massive consumer destination.
Yeah.
RealSelf was really built in 2006 to be an SEO play.
Yeah.
So we capitalized on search traffic,
Mhm.
and we still do. Like, we get a massive amount of search traffic, but the way we designed the site and framed it was you're querying something through Google and you land on one of our random pages, you get your answer. Chances are you might leave. You might just get your answer and then go. The rebrand was intended to transform our site experience into a destination and make it feel dynamic, make our homepage feel like a destination where you can browse trends, you can browse products, you see everything at your fingertips that's on the menu in a way that's really obvious and easy. And it's seasonal. It's not stagnant. It's not this homepage that never changes.
Yeah.
Right now, I think we have fall wedding trends on there. It'll swap in and out of trends and content and editorial
Cool.
as we see user behavior shift and evolve.
Yeah.
So that was really big for us. We wanted to improve the site experience. And I do think that is helping all the metrics we care about. Like, people are spending more time on our site. They're consuming more pages per session on our site. So we're seeing the quality metrics start to tick up in the direction we wanted. So it feels like it's working. And I feel like that is how we'll build a true relationship with our user versus being this utility for our user.
Right.
Like, I want them to think of RealSelf emotionally and understand us. And I think the other thing is RealSelf was really created for the consumer, but our branding was totally for the male-dominated plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
And I have a shit ton of respect for the doctors, to be clear.
Yeah.
But the way we drive value to the doctor is through our audience.
Right.
So for our positioning and framing to speak their love language was a little backwards. And over time, we kind of lost the plot.
Yes.
The modern consumer cares about authenticity from a brand. They care about your brand persona and your verbiage and your imagery.
Yeah.
So those things that we didn't prioritize started to hurt us.
Mm-hmm.
So we just brought those back into the fold and made them, main characters again.
Yeah. Which I love. So it's like, that's how you keep the trust of your existing. And then that's how you're bringing in future.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. What's your long-term vision for RealSelf over the next 5 years?
So it's called RealSelf, not Real Surgery, which is super convenient. And our new sort of rallying cry or slogan is "Your best self starts now," which I really feel encompasses what aesthetics can do to empower people, create confidence, allow you to kind of explore any kind of beauty journey that makes you feel happy and fulfilled in an environment that's like safe, non-judgmental, celebratory. But your best self starts now could mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
And real self could mean a lot of things. I think there's a lot in the multiverse of aesthetics that's not just plastic surgery or cosmetic treatments. There's, wellness and nutrition and mental health and fitness. There's all these verticals that kind of interlace and work together. I think it'd be really interesting down the line to create a more holistic, your best self starts now destination with different verticals beyond just aesthetics.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I think even from like a trend analysis perspective, right now you see on TikTok, you can go down these at least my algorithm is like on a Korean skincare algorithm right now.
Yep.
But what's so interesting about just beauty in general is you hit the nail on the head when you talked about like health and wellness and like even mental health, is that you can feel your best self from an outward version and an inward version if you're looking at like the entire holistic journey of like what that looks like. And I think that as consumers, we're really more drawn to that right now, especially as like the, recession talks and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, how can we consume things that make us feel really good even if we can't afford to do something that's like $10,000,
Totally. And I think also if you talk to plastic surgeons about certain treatments and procedures, a lot of them are not the silver bullet solution to something that's happening with that patient.
Right.
It could be a mental health journey in addition to a physical outward facing beauty journey. It could be a nutrition journey.
Yeah.
Your skin is not something that lasers alone can fix. There's so many playing variables that contribute to whatever your beauty goals are.
Yeah.
And your self-actualization journey. So it's going to be interesting to see how we kind of evolve with time.
Yeah. It's an education play for sure. Well, I want to go back to you as we wrap this up. I want to talk about work life and values. So being a CEO can be all consuming. Like we kind of talked about this a little bit offline. But I'm curious from your point of view, what helps you stay grounded and balanced?
Oh my God. Loaded question.
I know.
I struggle with that. I'm not going to lie and be like, yeah, I have like the perfect balance. It's so easy.
No,
It's super not.
None of us do.
I also think when you love your job, it gets even hairier.
Yeah.
Like, I'm obsessed with RealSelf.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my phone background. I have posters of our logo in my apartment. I am it's on my nails. Like, I'm obsessed with my job and my brand in this moment for my brand. But I do think you mentally need those moments of reprieve to like almost like hit refresh or like give yourself a palate cleanser so you can come back to the work better. It's kind of lame, but workout classes, that's like the 1 hour where I am not, well, most often not touching my phone. Like I'm at a Barry's class or I'm at a solid core class. You will not catch me on my phone. I usually try to lock it in like a locker so it doesn't even come in the room with me. That's like an hour of peace.
Yeah.
And I think knowing when to take time off, even if it's a day or an afternoon, like really being real with yourself. I've learned the hard way, you can burn out really quickly, but it takes a lot longer to recover from the burnout. I don't know why. That's like a total glitch in the system, but I could burn out within a week or 2 weeks, but it will take me like a month to feel recalibrated. So if I need an afternoon or a day or just a morning without meetings, I'll block that time so that I can just stay afloat and keep moving.
Yeah.
I think that's super important.
Yeah. Time blocking and just taking a moment for yourself. I mean, I think I'm in the same pathway as you, truthfully, because it's like over the weekend, I did like this 5K, right? I did in the
NBD.
Yeah.
I did this little 5K.
This little 5K thing, but I did this 5K, right? And it was really interesting because I was like by myself. My husband like is a lot faster. And so he went up. And the whole time, the hour that I was doing it, I was thinking about work, but I felt like I actually, and even though I'm just as obsessed about what it is that I do, the way you are obsessed about RealSelf and like the era that you're in, I feel like you need those moments of whether it's an hour of solid core or it's a 5K or whatever it is, you need those moments away from your phone, like exercising.
Yeah.
Because that exercise, like moving your body and moving yourself will also open up like mental capacity to be able to even bring your best work to the table.
Yeah, you need like the screen break, the environment change. I also love a good DJ set. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So that helps too. I mean, there's 1,000 lasers and people and music, and you're like, I'm not thinking about work in this environment. I'm too stimulated by everything here to even think about it. And it gives your brain just like a palate cleanser. It's really nice.
I feel like I'm so neurotic that I can't even smoke weed or drink because then I still obsess about it while I'm high. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even want. If I got high, it would be like weird for me.
Dude, I don't even bother.
Vision boarding in my apartment, like that would be weird.
I know. I'm the same way. When you think about legacy, what do you hope both you and RealSelf are remembered for?
Honestly, empowering women. Empowering women. Whatever the fuck that means. If it's like hiring women who weren't given a chance and we give them an amazing chance to be part of our team and grow, creating content that inspires women, that brings women together, that destigmatizes glowing up and doing whatever makes you feel your best. That speaks to me a lot.
Yeah. I love it. Well, we are at the end of the road, which is kind of crazy. I feel like there was actually like a ton of other questions that I hope that we can maybe do a part 2 for. But as we wrap up, tell the audience where they can find you and where they can find RealSelf and just anything that you want to leave them with.
Find RealSelf at realself.com. RealSelf across all socials. Our Instagram is lit. Highly recommend starting there. But our LinkedIn is popping off too. And you can find
no AI.
Yeah, no AI. We are really sensitive to that because it's just such an AI farm right now. Find me at Minou Clark everywhere. LinkedIn is where I probably do most of my fun work stuff, but you can catch me everywhere. Yeah.
Well, Minou, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I hope to bring you on again because, like, bitch, we still need to get into diversity and representation and so many other things.
So much.
Yeah. So
call me down anytime. Quick Uber from my apartment. So no problem.
Done. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Above the Fold. Bye.
Dang, we've made it to the end of the podcast and you're still here. So thank you so much for listening to Above the Fold podcast. For the best of this episode and every episode, be sure to follow us on Instagram and my YouTube channel. And for deeper dives on the secrets to brand success, don't forget to subscribe to my weekly newsletter, Sunday Postcards. All right, my dudes and gals, see you next week.